The wind is over 30 knots today, and out beyond this bay, I hear the waves are over 2 meters high. So I think this might be a bit of a trying test drive. We're in Mandelieu-la-Napole, a stone's throw from Cannes, the home of Sea Ray's European Yacht Centre. The boatyard is one of the leading producers in the world. We all know how famous their motorboats are, and for some time their range has been growing with bigger and bigger yachts. Right now, we're going to try out the 510 Sundancer. Here's the champagne, but we're only opening that if the test goes okay. It's more than 15 meters long, nearly 5 meters wide, and by dry weight goes from 17 to 19 tons, depending on engine and propulsion. It's assembled in America. You can tell which boatyard it comes from the minute you look at its silhouette. And we're here to find out how it handles itself in the water today, under not brilliant conditions. But first, let's have a look at the layout. The bridge at the bow is very long and sporty looking. The rail is high because Sea Ray are always conscious of safety. Going back to what it looks like, look at the slope of the windscreen, the deck house and the sides, which are mostly glass. The cockpit has a sofa in it and sits 7. And there's a retractable sunshade. The living area is quite special, very long. Instead of the pilot's seat, you could have a swivel sofa, so you can drive and turn, so it's facing the other sofa. The wet bar is elegant but functional too, with a splashback. A fridge and bottle carrier ready for an aperitif. But this isn't the boat's main kitchen. As always, on this type of yacht, the difference is in the ease of living. And here, it's the soft top. And this one is enormous. It moves silently. Very nice. The dashboard is quite traditional, but very efficient. There are 2 large displays and clocks. You can read engine data here, 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 and here. Usually I stay on the main deck for the light, the sun, but on this 510 Sundancer, I'll happily make an exception. You don't find space on other boats this size like this, or even bigger ones. Look how airy it is, how light, how big it is down here below deck. It's like being on the main deck. Instead of this living area, you could have a cabin with 2 berths. But even this sofa can turn into 2 berths. This is the main kitchen, where you'll find everything you could possibly want, even if you are a very good chef. When you look at a Sea Ray, you need to see it all over, even under the dunnage. The waterworks, for example, each utility has its own tubing system, quite rare. And it's rare to find such a square-shaped cabin on a boat, which gives it a real sense of space. The other double cabin is at the bow. This headboard can be made more comfortable depending on whether you are reading a book or watching TV. You can choose between 3 interiors with diverse textiles and colour schemes. Both cabins have their own ensuite bathroom. This is the main cabin's bathroom, with the wash basin separate from the shower and toilet area. When you sit in the commander's seat on a Sea Ray, you immediately feel settled. The armchair is soft, even the material is nice to touch. One slight problem to note, guess how much this check costs? It's the equivalent of a top-of-the-line motorbike, but this doesn't have an engine. But it does, however, have a load of levers, which you can use to change your position.
Sea-Ray propone per questo modello, il 510 Sundancer, due diverse motorizzazioni e due diverse...
Sea-Ray offers two different engine and propulsion possibilities on the Sundancer 510. The engines can be Cummins 550 or 600 turbo diesels, and propulsion can be either inline or Zeus.
Qual è la differenza? Beh, con la linea d'asse avete la massima affidabilità, anche...
The difference? Well, with the inline, you've got the best in reliability and best price when buying the boat, and you can count on almost perfect balance. With Zeus, you've got the advantage of better maneuvering thanks to the joystick and better efficiency.
Un comandante professionista sceglierebbe
A
probabilmente...
professional captain would probably choose inline, but maybe others want the ease of Zeus with its skyhook function, for example, which holds the boat still in a particular direction even when there's a strong wind and choppy seas, like today.
Allora, pronti?
So, are you ready to try it out?
Porto i flap nella posizione più bassa per favorire...
I'll put the flaps in the lowest position, best for planing. I'm sitting very low too, so I'm comfortable with my feet on the dunnage. But I can see the horizon perfectly, and this is a critical stage, when you go from cruising, setting off, to planing, going 12 knots an hour, and just about to start planing.
Ok, ora ci siamo.
Now we're up to a good 13.5 knots. The engines are revving at 2,100 a minute. Balance is good. We don't even have the more powerful engines on this one. Yet, even in this difficult phase, the boat is performing well, reacting quickly. And for now, remember, we're being protected by this promontory, and the sea here is still quite calm.
Tolgo un po' di flap man mano che la velocità cresce.
If I pull the flap a little, the speed builds, but I can hold the boat. I can see perfectly and have an ideal course route, so I go faster, without too much resistance.
La tecnologia con cui è costruita questa imbarcazione...
The actual construction of this boat is high-tech. Vacuum infusion means that we've got a solid but light structure, which is also resistant and doesn't vibrate. Not surprising, as Sea-Ray have a wealth of experience in actually assembling the whole thing, including the furniture and electricals.
Siamo a 25 nodi, 2.700...
So we're going 25 knots, 2,700 revs and consuming about 8 litres of petrol per mile. I'm beginning to notice the waves now.
Il vento oggi non ha smesso di soffiare neanche per un attimo e il mare è andato aumentando minuto
The wind hasn't stopped blowing and the sea is swelling by the minute. So let's put our foot down.
e togliamo i flap, vediamo cosa succede.
Take the flaps off and see what happens. Free up the hull so there's less resistance.
L'assetto cambia
The
leggermente.
balance has changed slightly, the angle increased, but the boat is going faster.
Qui le onde sono davvero
The
alte.
waves are really high here, but it's incredible how the boat is just comfortable, as it was when we were just chugging along, when the waters were calm. And here's the reason for that. The V of this hull at the bow is a good 19 degrees. It's really deep. Imagine how deeper it is at the centre of the boat too, just where the waves are hitting right this moment. And then at the bow, where it opens up. That's the reason it's so stable even when we're on this choppy water.
Quello che mi stupisce è che comunque riesce a
What amazes me is how it holds its direction so well. It's not listing much and I'm not having to correct the rudder. It's going exactly where I want it without having to adjust it continually.
Ok, abbiamo navigato.
Okay, we've sailed with the sea behind us now, but the worst conditions with these rough waters is definitely going to be side on, which is what we're going to do now.
Ho corretto lo
I've corrected the drifting with the flaps, but I didn't need to. The route holder is unbelievable in this direction.
Stiamo navigando al massimo,
We're going at maximum now, 26.5 knots with 2,800 engine revs. But now we're going to launch ourselves against the wind and the waves instead. Look at the incline. The motion of the boat is noticeable, especially because of the narrow V, and we're getting quite splashed. No prizes why. The wind is bringing it all to the bridge. So, in this case, sailing head-on into the sea, I'll lower the flaps. The axis is good and against the sea. Speed is high, surprisingly 20 knots easily.
20 nodi per non sbattere.
And we could go faster.
Il nome di molti sport yachts è sport.
Sea Ray's sport yachts and cruisers have had the same name for many years, Sundancer. But this 510 really does have something extra. It's the sign that technical evolution and style keeps on developing for Sea Ray.
Ah, già.
And that merits a toast.